Hello, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back for another episode of the Anime Podcast Show! Well, let's get started with the show as usual with the first segment, and that would be new interest in anime. So, this series is such a very iconic, massive, 50 plus years franchise. Like I said, it's such an iconic series. And this character we know in the anime as in general because he is the most popular character since the 70s. And he's such a gentleman. As a grandson of the master thief named Arsène Lupin. Did I mention the title? Oh yes, everyone knows this series, and everyone knows this title, Lupin the Third. For a long time series, like I said in the intro, this franchise has been around since, well, not in the 70s, but in the late 60s, actually. Started from as a manga series, then turned into a massive media, what it is today, as numerous mangas, 6 anime series, a few theatrical films, live-action films, OVAs, and mostly famous for the Lupin's TV specials, etc. As for the start with the manga, it was written and illustrated by Monkey Punch. I think I covered this in the channel for the 50th anniversary. If who hasn't seen it, I'll put down in the description below. But anyway, back to topic here. It was published by Weekly Manga Action on August 1967 for over 94 chapters, followed by Lupin the Third New Adventures as an additional chapters released from August 1971. But to making of the anime, it started as a pilot film from 1969 with suggestions by now TMS Entertainment to do the project like this. And it turns out the one we got is the mutual audience. And the audience doesn't like it, of how it approached. But thanks to Hayao Miyazaki and his team to change the whole structure for part 1. But since then on, the anime getting through the highs and the lows, Part 2 broadcasting for over 155 episodes from October 1977 to October 1980, airing for 3 years. Then to the Greedy era for the 1980s for Part 3, airing for a year and 9 months, and ending in 1985. Towards almost 30 years off the year back to the mutual content due to the demand to make Lupin return for its popularity all over the world for Part 4, 5, and now 6. Well, I'm hoping one day they'll make Part 7. Who in the hell knows? Now they can experience it with Lupin since Part 2. We have a lot of theatrical movies and TV specials. We have movies and specials such as Secret of Momo, Castle of Cagliostro, Dead or Alive, Blood Seal of the Eternal Mermaid, Goodbye Partner, Prison of the Past, and the list goes here from there. And so many projects they worked on over the years between 1989 to all the way to 2019. That is so many projects since then on. In its return in 2012, honoring 40 years since Part 1, and that series will be The Woman Called Fujiko Mine, and actually came to success, and the fans wanted more Lupin. So, TMS staff and Monkey Punch himself traveled to Italy for the upcoming Lupin project, and that one turns out to be Part 4, The Italian Adventure. Then moving on to Part 5, where Lupin and the gang takes the world on modern-day social media in Misadventures in France. To conclude this, they would make Part 6 for the continuation to celebrate 50 years of Part 1 of Lupin the Third. So what was my interest with the Lupin series anyway? Well, it happened something like this. Late March, early April, it was announced that there was going to be an event on May 1st. So the first thing I'd watch for Lupin was the first movie, the CGI film, and the first 15 episodes of Part 2. After that, I stopped watching Lupin, but I don't know why. But then I decided to not join the event and lost interest with it. Until late September in the same year that I didn't know that there was a commemoration project for the 50th anniversary for Part 1. So I decided at the last minute to come back and watch it again. This time, no more being bored, and after that, I fell in love with the franchise. So it started with more entertaining season, and actually, for me, it was for Part 4. And it feels like some episodes fell into the James Bond vibe. then moving to the mature and other Lupin specials until early December, releasing by Amazon Prime an English dub of Lupin vs. Detective Conan movie. And I'm going, oh my gosh, this is a very, very good movie. And I felt really entertained. And and also congrats to the cast in the movie. And also I remember working on the Lupin 50th anniversary video, and I was getting curious and going, who dubbed it anyway? And I was doing my research. I said Bang Zoom Entertainment, and going, oh, I didn't know that. So I was getting curious who's the cast are, and I didn't know that the batch of the movies for Conan was out. I was going, oh, okay, this is pretty interesting. So I was waiting for that dub to come out, and then I'm very curious of the Conan cast. And then I was looking at the cast list after watching the movie and going, oh my god, I recognize these people. I was like, oh my gosh. And then that's when I fell in love with Conan. And I'll talk about Detective Conan in the future, so look out for that. But I still really enjoyed watching Lupin the Third, and now the franchise is going far future in years to come. And I hope everybody are going to enjoy the Lupin series for their kids or next generation of fans who's going to fall in love with it. So that is it. So that is it for the first segment for the new interest in anime. That will be for Lupin the Third. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to move on to the next segment of the show, and that will be interviews with voice actors. It's been a while since I've done this segment. I think the last two VOs I had in the show, I had Bryce Pappenbrook and Jackie Lastra. Those two are freaking awesome, as always. As he is my third guest for the show, and let me introduce this VO, and he's been in the industry for, I would say, for 20 plus years. I think since Power Rangers, I believe. But let me introduce anime roles that he voiced. So he voiced the middle school TK in the Digimon Adventure 02 series, and also he voiced Koromon and Nisejima from the Digimon Adventure Tribe films, if you remember those 6 films. He is the famous voice for Part 4, 5, and 6 for Lupin the Third, Zenigata. And also, he is the voice of Urahara from Bleach. Also, he is the voice of course, you all seen Dragon Ball Super, but this is another dub. This is from the Bang Zoom dub of Dragon Ball Super. He is the voice of Whis in that dub. He is the voice of the Crow in Demon Slayer, and many more. But let me introduce one of my favorite people in the world, and also favorite voice actors. Let me introduce Doug Erholtz. Hello there, Doug.
Hello, Luigi. Luigi and I go way back. We've been chatting since what, about a year and a half?
I think since July of 2021.
There you go.
Yep.
So, we go way back.
Way back,
Luigi
guys.
and I are both Italian brothers from a different mother.
Yeah.
He's on a different continent than I am.
Yeah, exactly.
All the way over in Australia, where I'm in Los Angeles in good old continental North America.
That's right.
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, good, man.
So you're gonna interview me today?
Yes, I am, man. You're my third guest. Right. You're my third guest. I had Bryce and Jackie on, my friend. I had Bryce and Jackie on.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Very cool. So what's up? What do you want to talk about?
Alright, so as of my topic for this episode, I'm going to be talking about Lupin the Third. Between from your casting and between part 4, 5, and 6 and all the specials you guys done. So let's get started, my friend. Alright, so the first question is, before you were cast as Zenigata, do you know anything about Lupin?
I'd seen bits and pieces of it, in like maybe trailers, or I'd heard about it. I didn't know that much about the series. My friend, Richard Epcar, who was directing me in another project, he was basically like, hey, you know what? I've got this show I've been working on. We've gone on kind of a hiatus for several years, and now one of the actors is not going to rejoin us for this new casting. He's like, and I'd like to see if you'd be interested. And so during one of our sessions, he had me read a couple lines. He played me a little bit of Dan Lorget, who is the Zenigata prior to me in this cast. I think Dan had done about 3 different projects with them. And I was like, yeah, sure. And, he played me Dan stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I said, I don't really like doing voice matches typically for things. Because generally speaking, you kind of get it's a no-win situation because everybody's gonna give you grief for not being the guy they want to hear. So I was like, well, I can probably sound like Dan Lorget, but I prefer to give it a little bit of my own spin. So he said, yeah, sure, that's great, and I think it's worked out pretty well. One thing I do know is that the character of Zenigata, actually, the whole series has become much less animation style and comedic style. Because it started out very loose at the beginning when it was first started out. And I think Dan was great for those first couple of seasons because it was more cartoony and less kind of streamlined.
That's right,
like
yes.
it is now. And so now it's more like, I think Zenigata has kind of settled into this
more serious role?
Yeah. And he's a little bit more serious, a little bit more pointed, a little bit more invested in chasing him. And so I think that in this world, both of our voices work, to be honest with you. So
I can agree with that. So what was the differences between part 4, 5, and 6, depending on Zenigata's development throughout those 3 seasons I just mentioned?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, he had kind of become a little bit more serious, a little bit more hard-nosed, and again, a lot of it kind of gradually morphed over time as the animation became a lot more sophisticated as far as the line work. Zenigata kind of became more of a hard-nosed detective with shades of, he kind of got very silly when he got himself into stressful situations and that was all comedic fun stuff for me. So it's such a great role as far as I'm concerned for my voice type because, I love comedy. That's my forte.
Same.
And with the Zenigata just hit, he's basically just down here like this. And, so it was really easy for me to fall into that voice, and the fact that the added bonus of him getting a little crazy with the slapstick stuff is really awesome for me. So
I can agree, and you and your cast just always killed it every step of the way of different iterations of Lupin specials, movies, TV shows you guys did. Yeah, you guys always killed it as always.
Thank you.
Like I just mentioned, of course, not only you dubbed the series, you had dubbed multiple TV specials and a couple of feature films. What's been your favorite to record?
The movie was really fun.
Is that the CGI one?
The CGI one, yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, when the first time I saw that, I saw a trailer for it in Japanese, and I thought, oh my gosh, I really hope we get a chance to record this. Because I hadn't heard anything, and I was like, Richard, what's going on? And he's like, I haven't heard anything, buddy. So lo and behold, about 3 months after I'd seen the trailer, I was like, oh, great. And man, I tell you, for the translation from 2D to 3D, I think they did a bang up job.
They splendid, yes.
They maintained the kind of the goofy cartooniness of it, but they also, what I loved was that it was so detailed and textured. You could see the weave on the clothing, on the just like the little details were really cool to see.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I remember first time watching that film, and I'm going, hang on, why is this looks like a James Bond film? It feels like a James Bond film.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Say Lupin the Third reminds me of if James Bond was played by Jerry Lewis. Do you know who Jerry Lewis is?
Yeah, I know Jerry Lewis.
Go back in the day, yeah. And he kind of has a similar look to Jerry Lewis back in the day when he had really short cropped hair. But yeah, I mean, very silly, very slapstick, but on the the flip side, Lupin is always, he kind of plays. He doesn't play a simpleton, but he plays like he's just goofing around half the time. But most of the time, he's been playing 3D chess, and he's already got his plan figured out, even for the chance that he gets caught. And he is a master of disguise, so you got to give him credit for that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And so let me tell you my favorite specials and movies you guys did. So you guys did the Goodbye Partner special. That's one of my personal favorites. And then you guys did the Prison of the Past. And mentioning about that, you got Michelle, Lex, Richard, and Tony. You guys were at Anime NYC premiering that film.
Right. Yes. That was really cool. That was actually one of my very first conventions.
Shut up. Get out.
I think I'd done Anime Expo in downtown Los Angeles, but I'd never really done a out of town convention. So that was the first one we did with the Lupin cast, and I think we ended up doing about 3 or 4 after that. So such a fun time. I love getting together with those guys. It's so great. I mean, we've known each other for 25 plus
long
years.
Time.
So it's like getting together with friends and shooting the shit about stuff that
exactly
basically a little slice of life of what we go through.
That's true. And also you guys dubbed the Blood Seal of the Eternal Mermaid. That's another very good one. And and one of my personal favorites is gotta be, of course, we just talked about Lupin, the CGI film, and Lupin versus Conan special and the movie.
Right. Yes. That was funny because I was always curious how I had heard about their collab, and I was like, how are they going to do the animation and make it look natural? I mean, natural. What are you saying? It's a cartoon, but the irony is that the Conan stuff, all the characters' heads are kind of shaped like Stewie from Family Guy.
Family Guy, yes.
They're all a little bit oblong, and then you've got the Lupin crew, and everybody's kind of like that tall, lithe kind of lanky characterization. So, but they ended up pulling it off. I mean,
they pulled it off, yes.
It was like so yeah, that was a really fun one to do too.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no.
Do you remember who played Conan in that?
Wendy Lee.
Yeah. Wendy Lee is one of my favorite people in the world. She's so awesome.
Yeah, she is. Mentioning about the Lupin versus Conan stuff, it's such a great opportunity for you guys to dub it, because it's been a long time in the works for the Japanese cast to do that back to back.
Right. There was one that I saw recently. I don't know if it's been dubbed. I'm a big freak about UAP, UFO stuff. And there was one Lupin, I think it was a movie, OVA, that basically was somebody had stolen a piece of mech from Area 51. Do you know what I'm talking about? Anybody out there know what I'm talking about? Just call in right now. I mean, this is...
Just put down in the comment below, guys.
Yeah, right, exactly. Let me see. I know that there was something about Area 51, and I thought it was so cool. Oh, and Lupin wanted to steal a piece of this UFO.
I don't know.
Do you know anything about that?
I don't know.
It was called like Angel Assassins or something.
I don't know if it's from Cat's Eye.
Angel Tactics.
Angel Tactics.
Let me read it to you. It was so. Yeah, let me see.
Oh. I thought it was from the.
Oh, here it is. Let me read it to you.
Yeah.
Lupin's new goal is the mysterious original medal, a seemingly alien artifact kept in Area 51 under strict guard. So this is back from 2005.
Okay.
However, there's another party who wants to obtain the orb, the terroristic organization known as the Bloody Angels. I don't know if this thing has gotten a dub, but it looks like it's fascinating. Right down up my alley. Anyway, so yes, if anybody has seen that and wants that dubbed, write a strongly worded letter to the editor or Discotheque or one of those production companies and say, we want Angel Tactics dubbed.
And TMS Entertainment as well. Because they're the people behind all Lupin and Conan and all that.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, last question, my friend. Last question.
Yes.
In the future for Zenigata, what would he do after he achieved to catch Lupin?
Well, he has technically caught Lupin several times, but unfortunately, Lupin always figures out a way to weasel out of that situation. What would happen if Lupin was put away forever?
Yeah.
Zenigata would not have a purpose in life.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know. He would have to have like a major life change. He'd have to figure out. What he'd probably do. He would probably end up moving to Florida and being a special agent for like an old folks' home. And he would, go around seeing who stole the sandwich out of the refrigerator, the community refrigerator. I don't know, something like that. I think that he would basically kind of give up on law enforcement since, the biggest challenge of his life, Lupin, was put away. I think he'd be like, well, that's it. That's all I'm going to do. And he's going to basically play shuffleboard for the rest of his life. Maybe get married to a nice old lady down in Florida. Boca Raton, why not, right?
Well, that's a good answer.
Sip a couple Mai Tais, play some shuffleboard. God bless. Why not? I've done what I came here to do. So, yeah.
All right. That is it, my friend. And thank you for being my wonderful, amazing guest.
Absolutely. And Luigi, you did great. I'm honored to be your third guest ever. Thank you.
No problem, man. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is Doug Airholds and talking about Lupin the Third. Now let's move on to the next segment of the show, and that would be Topic of the Week segment. For this episode's topic is, let's go back in time to the years where these series had their own success in the pre-1990s era. So there are some pretty good anime series that came out from that period. There's so many good shows out there at the time. So I would say between in the 60s, 70s, and the 80s. So somewhere like that. So let's talk about those today. So I got a top 5 list. The first one I want to start off with is this most popular character in anime is, this character is more popular than Lupin, Goku, Pikachu, or even Conan. This little cute robotic cat in English called him Gadget Cat from the future. But in Japan we called him Doraemon. Of how this popular character as it blew up as it was in the late 60s to the early 1970s. Well, it started like this. As a manga character appeared in 6 different children's monthly magazines to making it as its first attempt to produce an anime series in the 1970s. Actually, though, the first one didn't make success as it was after airing 26 episodes and 2 segments in each episode until early 1979 to early 2005. It was a huge, successful series. And it went over for about 1,787 episodes. Then weeks later, in a rapidly, another successful Doraemon series that came out in 2005, and that's still airing to this day and been airing for about 15 plus years, and it's still popular series to date. Now we are experiencing to send the series to international audience like in the United States, the UK, Australia, etc. As to this day, people will remember this popular franchise. So that is Doraemon. For number 4, this next one is in a very old franchise before Lupin and Doraemon even exist, being appeared as a manga series in the early 1950s, then became globally all over the world with a smash hit anime series coming from 1963 series, living in a futuristic world where robots coexist with humans, creating a robot, but we all know this particular character known as Astro Boy, as they made 3 attempts like Doraemon did, but not very much as popular as the first one, aired around New Year's Day 1963 and ending their run in New Year's Eve 1966, in total 193 episodes to air. Then their second attempt, as in a color remake, airing for about 52 episodes from October 1980 to December 1981. And their final attempt is the famous modern 2003 series, the one that aired on Cartoon Network's Toonami and Kids WB kind of made success in the English side that more popular than came out years before, but not knowing that Astro Boy would not come back anytime soon. But who knows? For number 3, can we actually give this franchise have a live-action movie? But due to the news, nothing at all. Knowing that project is not gonna happen, because of course with anime live-action movies, goes very badly wrong, with 95% going terribly in production. What film I'm talking about? Well, this oldie series that people never talk about is Super Dimensional Macross, or known as Robotech. That was produced the dub from Harmony Gold. It's very weird that was produced is adapting with edited material, combined 3 different mecha shows into one, but actually enough, it became a cult classic. If the popularity is still going, they can make a proper Robotech movie. For number 2, as Shonen Jump is popular to these days, we all thanks to the boost of the magazine what it is today. Not only for Slam Dunk, JoJo, as in one of the greatest stories ever been told by the creator of Dr. Slump, Akira Toriyama, known as Dragon Ball. As was Dragon Ball got inspired by Journey to the West, as it was become a successful franchise with an original anime series that would be almost 40 years old in a couple of years from now. Then the iconic DBZ run with amazing storylines and building arcs for characters and sagas into a cinematic. If you want to make a continuation to a massive hit from 1989 to 1996, it was the best years in anime history. How do you feel if you want to continue the story well? Yes. Just make it as freaking canon. But it didn't make freaking sense. Well, I'm talking about Goku turns back into a kid from a wrong wish with the Black Star Dragon Balls in Dragon Ball GT, airing for 11 years of Dragon Ball between 1986 to 1997. But by the time GT ended their run in Japan, internationally had begun airing Dragon Ball and grew the fan base as anime being a violent franchise. I want to make it short here. With DBZ Kai and Super reviving the franchise, now all of the world continues the story with Goku and Vegeta of what would be the next story to see our favorite characters, if it's on a small screen or on the big screen, but who knows. In the number 1 list, if you want to live in a world, if you control a robot, when your life is in a living hell of launching or surviving this hella war that you're about to witness is firing up the Gundam. You know what I'm talking about, the Gundam franchise. Produced by Sunrise, as of now Bandai Namco Filmworks, is responsible for the franchise of where it is today. And for over a lot of series, films, etc. To go back all the way to 1979, where this original story setting a war between robots and humans. To the course of the story, most of it are not connected at all. Well, it depends on the series and the movies connecting together. But nonetheless, to the Gundam franchise. To fans are already fans of the franchise or are interested to look at it, you'll be ready to join the ride of this wild roller coaster to the Gundam universe. I hope the franchise are gonna be remembered as a mecha series that was created for all ages. So that is it for the topic of the week segment, talking about pre-1990s anime series. Now moving to the next segment of the show, and that will be anime at the movies. As closing the year of 2022 is a romance, high school confession movie, and that will be the quintessential Quintuplets movie. This is a long bloody story, but here we go. So I posted this on Twitter about this on the day it was December 2nd, 2022. Supposed to go on the 1st of December when it first came out. But I had to go somewhere very important. So moving to the next day, every movie I go to see is watch the series first before the movie comes out. Because you need to know the lore of the franchise or the series. So I decided to watch the film first, then the series. Crazy, right? Well, this is another part of that story because I usually watch the series first before watching the movie when it comes out. But I got really bored with watching the series first, then the movies. That was usually that routine for me, but that routine's not very good for me at the moment. So I've decided to watch the movie first and then the series. So when I walked into the cinema, don't know anything about the series, the characters, or even the story itself. Nothing at all. But funny enough, I was the only one in the theater. So I was the lucky one. No people there, just resting my legs and just kick back and watch the movie. And yeah, like I just said, I was so lucky with no people there. And that was the third time I got to see that, like that, in an anime film. So I think I got to see the Gundam movie, and I think it was the Evangelion Thrice Upon a Time. But anyway, back on topic here. After walked out the movie, I'd actually enjoyed it. As a newer fan of the series, I thought they would produce a third season. That's what I thought. But my guess was wrong. So when I got home, started watching the series, so I decided to watch 2 seasons, then I can watch the film again. So for the series, it took me 3 days to watch it, out of context. For the future episode, I'm going to talk about that someday. Like I said, was going to see it again, and that's what I did. A few days later, on the 5th and the 7th of December of 2022, for the second and the third time, but for the final time, actually, because of the dubbed screening day, actually, it was a long ride week for me. Watching the film and the series at the same time. It was all over the place. And to be honest, it was a roller coaster week. That's what I call it. And that was my experience with the theatrical run of the Quintessential Quintuplets movie. Alright, let's move on to the last segment of the show, and that would be announcements. So before I'm going to talk about all the announcements of what's been happening for the past couple of weeks or so, I want to say congratulations for the first thing I'm going to mention is about Detective Conan, because Conan already surpassed 10 billion yen for their feature film, The Black Iron Submarine Movie 26. Congratulations for the cast of Detective Conan. I'm very excited, and I'm still hoping that we'll hit cinemas in Australia very soon, and I hope it's going to go more international releases in the future. So let's move on. Let's get started, shall we? So speaking about movies, let's start with the first one. So of course we got the new Sailor Moon movie coming up, and that would be a 2-part film, and that would be Cosmos. So as it was teased from the last movie saying to be continued, so does that mean we are gonna get an adaptation of the Sailor Stars arc making into a TV series or a movie? But I don't think so. We're gonna get a movie. I'm very excited. And of course, this film is going to be the production with Toei and Studio Dean again, as it was from the last film with Internal. And I'm very happy that the creator of Sailor Moon, Nakataka Yuchi, she is going to be the chief supervising production, like she did on the Internal film. And the first trailer dropped during the 30th anniversary live stream on the 20th of April 2022. With the summer release, and that will be June 9th and June 30th of 2023, I'm still looking for what they're going to bring to the table for this next feature film. But we all know we are going to be closing the chapter of the Sailor Moon story. But we don't know if they're going to continue a story that will take place after the events of the Sailor Moon story, the main story. But who knows if they're going to do like an original story, and maybe they're going to do a spin-off series. Who in the hell knows? I'm very, very excited if they're going to do something really different. Anyway, with different, there's a series I've really enjoyed way back in December of last year, and that will be Quintessential Quintuplets. And as of we know now, as of this video comes out, we have officially been announced that we are going to get a new anime TV special based on the Quintessential series. So, but we all know that the story is finished, right? But it seems that the story, quite of. Because in this special that they're going to be releasing, in this special they're going to do is they're going to talk about the stuff they didn't add in the anime. So possibly they're going to do like a little side stories that they didn't show us in the original 2 seasons of the anime. And I think they're going to lead up to the movie. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, I'm very excited for the Quintessential TV special that's coming up. Alright, let's move on to the last announcement. And that would be about Rurouni Kenshin. I am very excited about Kenshin. And we all know that the anime is coming up later in the year. So now it's been official. July 6th is the broadcasting date. I'm very excited. And also, this is a very very cool information I've just got received. It said here that my sources are saying is also they're announcing that they're going to show it in their local cinemas all across the world. What? This is so cool. And they're gonna start in Japan on June 18th. Then Kenshin will have worldwide screening events, including the US, France, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, and South Korea. If you live in those places, you are very lucky you're gonna have a screening for Rurouni Kenshin, the new anime. What the hell, bruv? Okay, we're gonna wait for our release very soon. So they said June 18th, so that's next month. So that's perfect. But I'm hoping if they're gonna do that. If they do it, I'll be happy. Anyway, that is it for the Anime Podcast Show. Hope you all enjoyed this. And also thank you, Doug Airholds, to be my wonderful guest for this episode. But anyway, we're about to close the episode. So thank you everyone who's been listening or watching this. It was really exciting to continue what I'm doing. So hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't done it yet. And hit that notification bell if you want to know when I upload again. So take care of yourselves, everyone. And stay safe out there. And peace.